The 1979 new 1 penny, 1p, coin of the United Kingdom, bearing the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II with the legend Elizabeth II DG Reg FD, is part of the modern decimal coinage introduced after the UK's decimalisation on February 15, 1971, and it represents an important transitional era in British numismatics, economy, and design philosophy, struck during the reign of Elizabeth II, whose image appeared on British coinage for over 7 decades. This coin reflects both continuity of monarchy and modernization of currency, with the obverse designed by Arnold Machin, featuring the Queen's second definitive effigy wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, a design used from 1968 until 1984, admired for its dignified realism and classical simplicity, while the Latin inscription DG Reg FD expands to De Gratia Regina Fidei Defensor, meaning by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith, a traditional title emphasizing the constitutional and religious role of the monarch. The reverse of the coin was designed by Christopher Ironside, showing a crown portcullis with chains, a symbol strongly associated with the Palace of Westminster and the House of Commons, reinforcing themes of parliamentary democracy and British state authority, with the denomination new penny above and the date 1979 below, a wording that remained in use until 1981, after which new was dropped and coins simply read 1 penny. Compositionally, the 1979 penny is made of bronze, consisting of approximately 97% copper, 2.5% zinc, and 0.5% tin, giving it its characteristic reddish-brown tone when new, though circulation often darkened it over time due to oxidation, and it weighs 3.56 grams, has a diameter of 20.3 millimeters, a plain, smooth edge, and was struck in metal alignment. The Royal Mint produced these coins primarily at Tower Hill, London, and the 1979 mintage for circulation was notably high, around 459 million pieces, reflecting inflationary pressures of the late 1970s, rising prices, and the need for vast quantities of low-denomination coins in everyday transactions, making the coin very common today in circulated condition. However, examples described as new or uncirculated, showing full original mint luster, sharp detail in the Queen's hair, tiara, and facial features, and crisp definition in the portcullis chains and crown, are more desirable to collectors, especially when free from contact marks or discoloration. Proof versions of the 1979 new penny were also produced for inclusion in Royal Mint proof sets, struck using specially polished dies and blanks, resulting in mirror-like fields and frosted design elements, and these are significantly more valuable than standard circulation strikes. Historically, the year 1979 itself was pivotal in Britain, marked by political change with the election of Margaret Thatcher as Prime Minister, economic restructuring, and social transformation, all of which contextualize the coin as a quiet but ubiquitous witness to daily life during a turbulent period. From a collecting standpoint, the 1979 new penny is generally valued modestly due to its high mintage, with circulated examples often worth only face value, uncirculated pieces typically worth a small premium, and proof coins commanding higher prices depending on condition and original packaging. Yet its true appeal lies less in rarity and more in its role as a representative artifact of late 20th century British coinage, embodying traditional symbolism, high-quality engraving, and the practical demands of a modern economy, making it an accessible entry point for new collectors and a nostalgic piece for those who remember using bronze pennies before the UK switched to copper-plated steel in 1992, after which coins became magnetic and visually distinct, further elevating the 1979 bronze penny as part of a now completed chapter in British monetary history. Next top. The 1984 new 1 penny, 1p, coin of the United Kingdom, bearing the obverse inscription Elizabeth II DG Reg FD, is a notable example from the final phase of Britain's original bronze decimal pennies and represents both the maturity of Queen Elizabeth II's mid-reign coinage and the approaching end of an era in British monetary materials and design. Issued during a period of economic consolidation in the early 1980s, this coin continued the decimal system introduced in 1971 and was widely used in everyday transactions at a time when cash still dominated daily life, public transport, retail shopping, and wages. The obverse features the second definitive portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Arnold Machin, which had been in use since 1968 and is widely regarded as one of the most elegant royal effigies on modern British coinage, showing the Queen facing right, wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, with finely detailed hair and a calm, authoritative expression that symbolized stability and continuity. Surrounding the portrait, the Latin legend DG Reg FD stands for De Gratia Regina Fidei Defensor, meaning by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith, a traditional royal title reflecting the constitutional and religious role of the monarch in the United Kingdom. The reverse design, created by Christopher Ironside, displays the iconic crown portcullis with chains, a powerful emblem associated with the Palace of Westminster and the authority of Parliament, reinforcing democratic governance and national identity, with the denomination 1 penny clearly stated above and the date 1984 below. By this time the word new had been dropped, in 1982, to mark the full establishment of the decimal system. Compositionally, the 1984 1 penny is struck in bronze, consisting of approximately 97% copper, 2.5% zinc, and 0.5% tin, giving it a rich reddish-brown color when freshly minted, though most circulated examples developed darker tones or spotting due to oxidation and handling. The coin has a diameter of 20.3 mm, weighs 3.56 grams, features a plain edge, and is struck in metal alignment, consistent with other UK decimal bronze denominations of the period. The Royal Mint produced a very large quantity of these coins, over 400 million pieces, reflecting inflation, population needs, and the continued reliance on low-value coinage in the early 1980s economy, making the 1984 penny extremely common today in circulated condition. However, coins preserved in uncirculated or new condition, retaining full original mint luster with sharp details in the Queen's tiara, facial features, and the portcullis crown and chains, are more attractive to collectors, particularly when free from scratches, carbon spots, or discoloration. In addition to circulation strikes, proof versions of the 1984 1 penny were produced for Royal Mint proof sets, struck with specially prepared dies and polished blanks, resulting in mirror-like fields and frosted design elements, and these proof coins carry significantly higher collectible value than standard issues. Historically, 1984 was a momentous year in Britain, marked by the miners' strike, economic restructuring under Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher, and intense social change, and while the 1 penny coin is a small object, it silently accompanied daily life during this transformative period, passing through countless hands. From a numismatic perspective, the 1984 bronze penny holds added significance because it belongs to the final decade of traditional bronze British coinage, as rising metal costs led the Royal Mint to replace bronze with copper-plated steel in 1992, making all earlier bronze pennies non-magnetic and visually distinct from later issues. Although the 1984 1 penny is not rare and is generally valued modestly, often near face value in circulated condition and at a small premium when uncirculated, its importance lies in its historical context, classic design, and material composition, making it a meaningful and accessible piece for collectors, historians, and anyone interested in the everyday objects that quietly reflect Britain's political, economic, and cultural story during the late 20th century. Next top. The 1991 penny coin of the United Kingdom bearing the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II with the inscription Elizabeth II DG Reg FD is a modern decimal bronze coin that reflects both Britain's long royal tradition and its late 20th century monetary system, and while it is not rare, it holds strong historical and educational value for collectors and historians alike. Issued during the reign of Queen Elizabeth II, who ascended the throne in 1952, the 1990 penny belongs to the decimal coinage introduced in 1971, replacing the pre-decimal system of pounds, shillings, and pence, and this particular coin was struck at the Royal Mint primarily for circulation, with millions produced for everyday use, making it widely available even today in circulated condition, while uncirculated or new examples are more desirable to collectors. The obverse features the third definitive portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Raphael Maklouf, showing the Queen facing right and wearing the George IV state diadem, a design used from 1985 to 1997, and surrounding the portrait is the Latin legend Elizabeth II DG Reg FD, which translates to Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith, a traditional royal title emphasizing the monarch's constitutional and religious role. The reverse displays the classic crown portcullis with chains, a symbol associated with the Palace of Westminster and long used on British coinage, with the word 1 penny below and the date 1990 beneath it, reinforcing continuity with earlier penny designs despite the decimal reform. Composition-wise, the 1990 penny is made of bronze, 97% copper, 2.5% zinc, 0.5% tin, weighing 3.56 grams, with a diameter of 20.3 mm and a plain edge, and this bronze composition was used until 1992, after which pennies were changed to copper-plated steel, making 1990 one of the later years of the traditional bronze issue. From a monetary perspective, the coin had very low purchasing power even at the time of issue, reflecting inflation and changing economic conditions in late 20th century Britain, yet it remained an essential unit of accounting in everyday transactions. In terms of value today, a circulated 1990 penny typically holds minimal monetary worth beyond face value, while a new or uncirculated example may fetch a small premium among collectors, particularly if it has original mint luster and no wear. Though it is not considered a key date, culturally, the coin represents a stable period of Elizabeth II's reign and the visual identity of British currency during the 1980s and early 1990s, making it a common but meaningful artifact that connects daily life, royal symbolism, and modern British history into a single small object. Next top. The 2006 1-penny coin of the United Kingdom bearing the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II with the legend Elizabeth II DG Reg FD is a modern decimal circulation coin that represents the final era of the traditional British penny design before a major redesign of UK coinage in 2008, and while it is not rare, it carries notable historical, material, and symbolic importance. Issued during the long and influential reign of Queen Elizabeth II, the 2006 penny forms part of the decimal currency system introduced in 1971 and was produced by the Royal Mint primarily for everyday use, with very large mintages ensuring its widespread circulation throughout the UK. The obverse features the fourth definitive portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, created by sculptor Ian Rank Broadley, which was introduced in 1998 and used until 2015. Showing a more mature and realistic depiction of the Queen facing right and wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, a deliberate artistic shift intended to reflect the Queen's age and experience, and surrounding this portrait is the abbreviated Latin inscription Elizabeth II DG Reg FD, translating to Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith, a title deeply rooted in British monarchy and tradition. The reverse of the 2006 penny continues the long-standing design of the crown portcullis with chains, a symbol associated with the Palace of Westminster and parliamentary authority, with the denomination 1 penny prominently displayed below and the date 2006 beneath it, making this coin part of the final chapter of a reverse design that had been used, with minor adjustments, since decimalization. In terms of composition, the 2006 penny is made of copper-plated steel, a change introduced in 1992 to reduce costs due to rising copper prices, giving the coin a magnetic core while maintaining the traditional copper appearance, and it weighs 3.56 grams, has a diameter of 20.3 mm, a plain edge, and a thickness of approximately 1.65 mm, matching the specifications of earlier pennies despite the internal material change. Economically, by 2006 the penny had very limited purchasing power, reflecting inflation and changing consumer habits, and discussions were already ongoing about the usefulness of low-denomination coins. Yet the penny remained an important symbolic and accounting unit within the British monetary system. From a collector's perspective, the 2006 penny is common and circulated condition and generally holds face value, but a new or uncirculated example, especially one retaining full original mint luster and free from scratches or handling marks, may be of modest interest to collectors who focus on date sets, late Elizabeth II coinage, or pre-2008 designs. Historically and culturally, the 2006 1-penny coin stands as a representation of Britain in the early 21st century, technologically modern in composition, traditional in symbolism, and positioned just before the radical redesign of UK coins that replaced individual heraldic symbols with a unified shield, making it a small yet meaningful artifact that links monarchy, economy, and everyday life during the final years of Queen Elizabeth II's classic decimal coinage design.